Good morning, ladies and gents. Good morning, ladies and gents. Happy Friday, ladies and gents, and welcome into another episode of A Different View. I am very, very highly excited about this episode today. We get to go into a few topics here. I always make the promise of trying to keep it brief, but again, we'll say it from this standpoint, just for people abreast. Sometimes I think people say they're going to keep something brief in order to keep people's attention, if you will. And again, we're not. These things just come from me, guys. They're part of me, so I reference them. Again, for those who believe differently, you'll always hear me say it because, repetition is necessary for learning. It's good to constantly say things over and over again. We repeat things every day. You get up every day. That is repetitive. When you stop, I guess maybe for those who have gone on to the life beyond here, maybe they're thrilled, or maybe they're not too thrilled that get up in this reality every day. But at the end of the day, we get up every day. That's repetitive. We're eating something every day. That's repetitive. We're still breathing. That's repetitive. Repetition is very necessary, and in the cases of talking about life, it's necessary for learning. So today's topic is going to be on defense. I was talking to a buddy of mine yesterday on a topic that I had dealt with online. There's something to be said, folks, about your I say this, your online presence. So for for older people, I got my water here, guys. I got my computer here. We feeling good this morning. This is the weekend. There are certain things in life that you got to get a good energy about. There's so much in this world where it's consistently bringing down, and you can't do this, and this is wrong. But where are the do's at? What can we actually do? And as people, when you break away, as you've heard me say constantly, when you break away from certain things here, the doors widen so much. Guys, even in me going in and doing this study on Christmas, when we get to that episode, and we'll also do this is a little surprise here. So to give some of my listeners here, I also we like to say views. Funny, right, that they say views on things you're listening to. Little things people don't pick up on. Because see, the words create images in the mind, and that you're actually viewing in your mind. Just dropping these little tidbits here to kind of, again, it's this wake up thing. When you hear black folks tell you stay woke, man, there's an energy. See, we all connect into this. That's why it's important. Don't shun other people, right? When we accept each other's cultures, each other's gardens, that's what the word means. When we look at each other's stuff here, someone might have a bed of primroses. Somebody might have a bed of roses. Somebody might have, somebody might have some trees with fruit on them, right? But all of these things we can richly enjoy. To rob a phrase from the Bible. Again, the trees in the garden were there to richly enjoy. It's just a thing. There is so much that you can learn, and that's what's dangerous about the social construct. So this is another thing on that word, guys. Look that phrase up. I'm just going to tell you right off the jump here, just from the study that I've done on it. When you're talking about social constructs, this is made up stuff, folks. When they talk about laws, it's made up stuff. We're going to get into an article here because I got a couple articles pulled up here. This is real life stuff. I don't want people thinking here that I'm excuse me. That morning time sometimes can affect you real funky in your voice. So my apologies, but it's real life. So, you just get pulled off. People get pulled off in their thinking a little bit. They just do. Stop thinking that this stuff is so very concrete. If they made it up at one point when it wasn't there, guess what they can do? They can unmake it. They can unmake it. There is again. You got it. Your government, your ruling class. So that's we're going to say it that way, because there won't be a person who's being honest won't deny that there is a ruling class in the land of America right now. And see, again, I differentiate. I don't use this. I'm not trying to use the same terminology everybody's using, because they're using it improperly. And again, we're gonna get in this little bit of article. All right, so here we go. Here's this thing. We're talking about defense. You're gonna see where I'm going with it. From the Associated Press this morning, about 8 hours ago. See, again, because in talking in history, it's going backwards here, and this gonna get real good. So we're talking about going into 2024, and that might be the little surprise here that I do on this on this platform, is that we might do a little year-in review. I may take different topics here that I actually didn't get a chance to talk about before the creation of this podcast, mixed in with some ones that I've already talked about here closer to the end of the year. I think it's necessary. There is something about, see, when we talk on time, folks, Lord, if people would get it when we talk on time. When you talk about time, the times to, like, again, what it talks about in Ecclesiastes, that ability that we have been given to reflect, that sometimes turns into regret, which we have to be careful of. When the Bible speaks on things like letting the dead bury the dead, there comes a point where, yes, there is death. Yes, there is the cessation of life. Yes, that point in your life is now over. And yes, you are supposed to have a memorial to it, because again, notice the bury part in the verse, but also realize that it is dead. It's over. That part in your life has passed. To be respected, to be buried, to be honored, but it is dead. And also, because we understand the balance of life, we know that in death, then there is life. That is the balance in which God has made this, and thank God for it. The great creator, the great spirit above. See, I'm talking about those things which unite us all, instead of the stuff they keep having us divided over, like this sick war over in Israel and Palestine. They keep fighting, folks. And this kind of thing passes. It's a warning all over the planet. Folks got to stop the fighting that's in between. We can talk about defense now. You got to stop. And again, it's always been a charge to each generation. That's why it's silly to make fun of the generations. You know, even in talking about older people as much as I do on this podcast, one, there is a high respect for those who have passed time, if you will. And for younger people, that'd be, a little funny when you get it. Yeah, they've passed time. They've passed through some years, man. They got that gray hair don't come for no reason. Half the time, it's older people dealing with younger people, which is okay. That's part of the game. That is part of the game. See, I said when we say, folks, I can talk to everybody, I really do mean it. I can talk to everybody. You have got to, and we all have been given that ability to talk to everybody. The problem is, folks, stop looking at people. Because of this thing that is happening in the end times, which is already said, the great love, the love of the great body of people has grown cold. Another way of saying it, love in people have put aside. They allowed it to grow cold. It's time to stir up the flame again. See, this is what I'm talking about. It's time to stop being so disrespectful, and at the same time, it's time for you to defend yourself against those who will be disrespectful to you. You know, when we get into the family part, because I may break apart the Valentine's Day episode into a few sections. It's a lot of information. When we talk about the family part of it, and I'll reiterate it when I get to that episode. Defense is necessary, folks. You've got to look. If life is a thing, then death is a thing. Until the thing is to be dead, you must defend the life. See what I'm saying? Like, so when you look in that TV show Loki, this is some ways it's easy for me to say, and this is why it's cool. See, again, I say art imitates life. Television is art. Okay, acting is art. We watch on a medium that is called television. At the end of the day, it's imitating the actors and actresses and actors are imitating life. So when you watch WandaVision and you got a person recreating a whole thing because they have, and it's based on the comics. This is when they make fun of comics. You know, yeah, to each person their own. Man, you don't understand the power. See, again, like when we talked about apologetics, which you'll hear me bring up a bunch. Study other religions. If you really believe, if I believe in Christianity as much as I do, guess what I'm going to do? We're going to look around and see the other thing. Not to tear them down. Not to tear them down. But to see possibly where things may mesh. When you talk about Abrahamic faiths, guess what? I have way less issues with my Islamic kin. Folks, if you believe that God above made all this, you're not sitting there afraid to learn what Hindus have to say. See, it was good for me to understand that when Europeans went over into India, because they have a disrespect for how people believe, just gonna call it what it is, that instead of saying their belief as Hindu, spelled with an I, they switched it and put the H there. Again, that's something y'all can look up right on your stuff while I'm talking to you. This is little tidbits, and a lot of that stuff, okay, also is the base of the partition and the religious war that went on over there when England was trying to take over India during World War II. I'm done on this idea, folks, that they keep trying to portray. So, the article reads, Americans agree that the 2024 election will be pivotal for democracy, but for different reasons. So we're going to just read a little bit into it. I'm not going into the whole. This is coming from the Associated Press, by the way. So this is, because again, everybody, it's good to find sources. Okay, it's good to do the research. It's good to, when you look on Wikipedia, look to the sources. Literally, go to where they're talking about the actual books and stuff. You can get an audio book everywhere, anywhere. You can buy these things. You can get these references. Look up the information. Right, Paul told this to the church in Berea. It was told again in Timothy. This idea of study to show thyself approved. So we've gone over it already. I may re-reference it here and there, but again, it's the idea to study. Give me 1 second, guys. We're just gonna. This is the good thing about having a computer here. You can you can look up things in a second, and it is very good. So, all right, let's just do this. I think part of this here, I have got to say it as kind of a banner as we go ahead here, because it's going to be necessary to speak on certain things. So this is in the book of Luke, and it's cool I get to do this again. This isn't the Sunday message, but this is just for learning. This is take this as you will. So Jesus doing signs and wonders. Just an everyday an everyday day in the life of Jesus here. Yep. So this will work. Okay. Luke chapter 11. King James Version will read it a little bit differently. Again, we put into work a little bit here in studying words and language and understanding English language, of which this of which the book was translated into, guys. So I see, again, if they're studying you, study them. You've got word searches that they learn, that they look up. They've got the ability to, and of course, monetary fraud is a thing, but of course, see, checks and balances need to be checked and balanced. So when they got the ability to just hit a pause button on your money, and again, this all kind of ties into this article here, but we just want to put this as a bullet point. So starting in verse 17, but he, knowing their thoughts, man, oh man. So, right, you got the X-Men. It will be cool to see how Marvel, by the way, does this whole X-Men thing. Mutants is a thing. It's always near and dear to my heart. Again, many people don't look at themselves that way, but if you have a ruling class, that means you have a class not ruling, and that ruling over the not ruling normally when they go sideways, they get very judgmental, and guess who the mutants are? It's the non-ruling class, unfortunately. Even sometimes those inside the ruling class, it's sick. It's sick when that disrespect starts to get in place. Knowing their thoughts, Jesus said unto them, every kingdom. And if you look throughout history, I'm telling you guys, this is the truth. Every kingdom divided against itself is brought to desolation. See, when people talk about the Bible, man, that what they are talking about, they're actually calling out the wrong. They don't realize it. And to my Christian brothers and sisters, to my Jewish brothers and sisters, to my Islamic brothers and sisters, those of the Abrahamic faith, you have got to be willing to, if we are going to rise higher. See, some of the things still translate from book to book here. The ideas come across all genres because you're talking about the one who is holding the fabric of reality in their hand. We try to put one gender on God. How is one gender creating two genders, folks? We're giving God definitions so that we can understand that which is beyond our understanding, which God doubles back on in the Bible to tell you that God's ways are higher than ours. That God's thoughts are not ours. The origin of where they're coming from is two different places. We, as humanity, see, drop that he stuff you keep seeing. As humanity, we are in the likeness of the Creator. It's not the other way around. And we keep missing it. Again, every kingdom divided against itself is brought to desolation. You have to be careful when you start putting too many divisions in place. This is why the one with men and women needs to stop. The one between the cultures needs to stop. Yeah, we got differences, but when they become divisions, that's when it becomes a problem. That's when it becomes a problem. See, holding to the differences to create divisions, aka what you see in traditions, what you see in stuff, it can go too far. That's when you've got to call it out. This deals with any topic of life. That's why when they talk about drug use, they don't really understand what they're saying. Again, when you have something truly coming out of the ground that is used properly to help you through life's traumas, that was made in the garden and said to be good, you have got to give a little bit of mental, a little bit of mental energy to that. You're going to give a little bit of mental energy to that thought. I'm just saying, again, to each their own, but hey, there is something to that. There's something to that. So how you got the wheat that's making beer and ale, folks? Come on. Now, I mean, is this you got shrooms, you got cannabis. To each their own. But the truth is, how is it sitting there? Well, so God made the thing, then the devil came down and corrupted it? No, when you read the Bible, it was the opposite way around. Oh, wait, then maybe there's some devil residue on things. See, again, Many things we keep saying are wrong when in reality they're wrong for you, and that's okay. See, that part is okay. I understand if I dropped a mental bomb there on folks, but it's just again something to consider. Just a different view. A house divided against a house is falling. Man, oh man, we ain't even in Valentine's Day yet. Here's the bomb, folks. You better get them divisions in order. This don't have to do with the husband being the head of the household, which we'll address. This don't have to do with the wife being the quote-unquote weaker vessel, which we will address. Y'all are a team. Can I talk to y'all for a minute? Oh, man. Y'all are a team. Get that garbage out of your mind because, again, a house divided against itself will fall. This is what Jesus is telling folks. This is what God, we're talking Jesus is God's son, right? This is what God is saying, folks. Cut out the division. Parents divided against their kids. Guess what's happening? See, differences and divisions. Two different things. You know what needs to start happening? People need to start getting okay with people's differences. Lord in heaven, if we can, if we get okay with other people's differences, that means how different they look, how different they smell, how different they run, how different they walk, what differences in the food they eat, the differences in the language. Stop on that one for a second. We have got to stop with this garbage on language. We speak the when you really truly understand what's going on, folks. The language, when you're captured, when a place is captured, you're left with the language, you're left with the clothes, you're left with the stuff of your captor. You want your individuality? You want to find out more of your purpose? Go look into the culture in which you can. I'm being for real, folks. Go look into the culture in which you come from. Start bathing and soaking your consciousness in that. You will find deeper meaning. And you'll take out some of these divisions. You'll make yourself a wholer person. If Satan also divided against himself, if Satan also be divided against himself, how just simple thought processes. How shall his kingdom stand? It won't. It won't. Because ye say that I cast out devils through Beelzebub. So they were making fun of Jesus here, saying that Jesus is casting out devils because he's tapping into the energy that comes from the devil. Folks just not thinking, man. How is evil casting out evil? If evil's for evil, how is evil casting out evil? It's not. Oh boy. And if I by Beelzebub cast out devils, we're gonna get to the real good, and then we're gonna keep on going here. If I by Beelzebub, aka the devil, aka Satan here, that's the analogy Jesus is coming across here with this. Cast out devils, by whom do your sons cast them out? Wherefore you guys are judging. So again, this is just calling out this idea here of this judgment, of this division. Cut out that kind of thing. Especially if you're not understanding the thought process in which you're saying the thing, now how are you saying something that you don't truly understand the basis for, and then making a whole thing there that can affect your families? Because this is the next thing he's talking about, is how are your sons doing it then? But I, with the finger of God, cast out devils. No doubt the kingdom of God has come upon you. Again, notice the finger of God. We're talking little effort because it's just your one finger. It's not the hand he's speaking of. He's talking about an opposite there between God and devils, showing that this is coming from a different source. This gets into this whole thing that happened with Moses way back when in Exodus between him and the sorcerers, where the energy of something is coming from. Different topic for a different day. I'm going to leave that. I'm just going to leave that there because here's where we're getting into it. Talking about defense and the mentality that comes with defense. So you can be very peaceful and be and not be defensive and yet defend yourself. What do I mean? That idea where you can never receive what when anybody tells you. Nobody can ever talk to you. You can't hear a thing from nobody. You become undisciplined there at that point. Everybody got a different view, folks. I'm so glad. Thank God, man. I'm glad we named this episode. I'm glad we named this podcast this. This is a different view, folks. It's a different view. And you got to be able to get to a point. It's not now, the defensive people have been brainwashed to bring up whenever truth starts coming or ever another point of view starts coming. It's amazing. It's amazing what people come up with and say. I wanted to put it out very clearly. I'm not making fun of anybody's point of view on life at all. I will say it over and over again because it's necessary for learning. At the end of the day, okay? What you believe is what you believe. You guys choose to tune in, and I do thank you for that. I'm thankful to Spotify for the ability to put on even in stuff that maybe the owner of Spotify doesn't agree with. You know what I mean? Like the ability, again, this idea to give opportunity. This is where it's at. This is the cool kids, folks. We're part of the cool kids, man. We're part of the cool kids here. So. It's just my, it's all right, girl. You're good. It's okay. It's my dog being defensive of me, which I do appreciate. Again, we like to live live and in color here. So, but here's this idea, folks got to understand. You just got to understand that it's not what we think it is. You gotta rethink the thing. So here's the verse. When a strong man armed keeps his palace, his goods are in peace. Strong man. You gotta work on you gotta get your muscles up. Get your muscles up physically. See, physical health. You can't help nobody. You can't help nobody against the oncoming storm. You can't walk 2 miles. I'm just saying, it's the challenge on the inside. Come on. We do this together, folks. This is not a thing where you're on your own. We're all in this struggle. Again, like I referenced in the last episode or two, we've all sinned. We've all fallen short. That does not mean you're less than. That just means we're all on that same playing field. Now, we got differences that make us unique, that make us special. But we're all on that same playing field. We're all on that same playing field. To each person has been given the measure of belief, measure of faith. You got your abilities. And this is one where you can get strong. Get strong in your mind. Stop listening to what these folks saying and start studying up for yourself and relearn a lot of the stuff you've learned. That's how you get strong there. Now, that's saying strong man. Of course, we talking strong women too. We talking strong kids. See, again, strong people. Strong people. And we're going to show what happens with this verse on the back end here when you're not. You keep your surroundings. You keep your belongings. Now, this is the part where you do not get possessive. We keep failing because we keep becoming possessive. The stuff is put into our charge. We are stewards of that which God has made. So it already puts certain things in a certain light where you do not get too high. Okay, let me go on. The goods are in peace, but when a stronger than he, now, stronger than he, because do not think more highly of yourself than they ought to think. A good way of saying this is how you watch, I like Star Wars, we said this, so here we're going to go with it. Star Wars, Episode 1, The Phantom Menace. You got Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon Jinn, his master, getting away, trying to get to where they need to go. They're going through an underwater terrace, planet, if you will, and while they're traveling, they're getting attacked by the sea creatures there. One latches onto their ship, Everybody's panicking. Of course, Qui-Gon is there now again. He's the older one of the bunch. See, this is what I'm talking about, wisdom. If older, to make yourself even more effective, I gotta say it, to make yourself even more effective as an older person, let go of a lot of the garbage that they have taught you because it was wrong. And in doing so, you help the younger generation go even further by teaching them the clearer truth. Not the one you were given as a boomer. Not that garbage about having somebody as a porter. Not being able to enjoy fountains and bathrooms and servants, but where we hold hands together. Holding on to divisions like that, this is where you let the stronger than he come in. Not really stronger than you, but everybody's got a different energy. And when you are weak, guess what happens? Somebody else is stronger than you in that category because you're weaker at that point. Not necessarily stronger than you, but stronger than you at this point because you are weak in that area. When a person stronger than you comes upon you, they will overcome you. Now the verse says, and overcome him. So, but when a stronger than he shall come upon him, again, understand all of this, lot of hymns, and overcome him, he taketh from him all his armor in which he trusted and divideth his spoils. Do you want to stop? You want to stop verse 22? You stop verse 10. We're just going to stop there because this is the part where we're going to get into the rest of this thing. You want to stop verse 22. Reread it a little bit different. Reread it a little bit differently here for folks. When the stronger person comes to you, when you're weak in an area, they're going to overtake you. Get strong in these areas where you know you're weak. Everybody knows there's a point where they're weak. Get strong. Doesn't matter what. Doesn't matter. In this reality, it don't matter. Physically, mentally, it doesn't matter. In the areas that you are best. And then get yourself around people. See, and again, getting yourself, network yourself within your own culture and other cultures. Network yourself around people who are strong. That's how you make yourself stronger in the areas where you could be weak. What do I mean by weak? There's a different gift for everybody. So the ones you may not be strong in, latch yourself to those who are. Not in a disrespectful way, not in some symbiotic kind of blood leech sucking type of thing. We're not talking about that. We're talking about allowing each other's gifts to bounce off each other and mesh together within and with each other. When that happens, you become a very, very powerful unit, and it's hard to get taken over. And then now you just start to describe the overtaking. So what's the overtaking look like? They come in and they take all of what you got, what you hold dear. This is what is consistently going on. Jesus trying to explain why the whole devil casting thing's going on. With this part, speaking of biblical context, this is what all this is, but also inside of that, Jesus just dropping little nuggets here. They will take from you when you're weak. The idea of this every day is to take from what you don't see on your blind side. You gotta, now again, what you might miss, someone else may catch, which is why you don't divide yourself. You unify. You can also live separately from folks and still be unified to them. Think about it. We're all in different neighborhoods, right? But whenever you go to the market, when you go to a place of business, wherever you are, you're unified with those people. I know, because they tell you otherwise, but you're unified with those people. And not only do they take the defense part that you're supposed to have in which you keep your palace, which you keep your stuff, they're then going to divide it up with their friends. Because who are they dividing the spoils with? Yeah, they're going to take for themselves. But the person who came in, they come in to take and give to whoever they so choose. Your reign gets replaced by theirs. We're talking about a person taking. Don't notice you don't see no share in there, do you? This is what I mean, folks. Life's to be shared. And this is the garbage that happens when we don't. So back into this article here. In a politically polarized nation, I really do have to point out a lot of See right there, words taken out of context. When you ever read stuff like this, folks, automatically change out politically. Because again, the word just means you talking about something that means something to you. They use it as a catchphrase because they know people aren't paying attention to words. That means government. So in a governmental polarized nation, because that's what they mean when they say political. Every time you see it, talking about politicians, they're talking about government officials. Because those are the ones that are doing the talking for whatever it is they want. They use you like they're talking for you, but again, it's for whatever they want. So in a governmentally polarized nation, which we already know, Americans seem to agree on one issue underlying in the 2024 elections: a worry over the state of democracy. So stop right there. Democracy, guys, again, the definition is basically government for the people. We've already gone over it. You've already seen it. So the worry over the state of democracy is really, when you talk, it's a misnomer. Because democracy, when has this government really been for the people? Again, the slaves that they brought over at the beginning of this, they didn't free them. So that government, I guess, wasn't for them. The women had to sit knuckled underfoot to the white landowner. Excuse me, that were the European landowner who now became, quote unquote, United States. Again, folks, they got you believing in a little bit of it, and they need you to empower them. That's the way they've set this thing up. And whether or not they try to change that, it's a whole other story. Just saying the truth of a thing. Not again. This isn't create fear. This is knowledge. This is knowledge. You got to know what you got to know what you're dealing with here. Because again, if they can mess with one group of people, they mess with them all. And how the outcome of the presidential contest will affect its future. This is always. I don't want to call it clickbait, because that's a little bit different of a scenario. But a lot of this is just see, people are going to go into this thing next year looking at the wrong stuff. It doesn't matter which one, because when they all are against you, that's the problem. When the bulk majority of them are against you, this is the strong man we talking about. It's not the left, it's not the right. It is the totality of how the thing is made, and it's time for the thing to be balanced. It's toward the people now, folks. I understand folks been fighting that because they're scared of communism and socialism. What you're scared of is how people over there used a socioeconomic thought process wrongly. How about that? They're using communism and socialism wrongly to hurt people. Same way they're using capitalism over here to hurt people wrongly. You affect the CEO's profit by not giving proper due to the people doing the work. If they would just start sharing more, the doors for profit would flow open. They don't see it. Stuck and blinded by greed. I will leave a lot of the rest of this here just because we got something else to go into here. It's talking about defense. A lot of this goes into who's thinking, good old Joe's going to be able to do things, which again, the man is. Can I just say, can we please see younger people in government? Jesus. I understand. I know. For everybody, like, not even 40-year-old, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90-year-old. Because these are the people. These are the people that, again, our elders, same also, as the term goes, those who will pass on, okay? Or our ancestors. Those who have passed on, okay? Who have lived in an era that was highly imbalanced. Let's not even, again, why you study history, so you know where you're going. This idea trying to separate time, folks, is silly because time ain't separated. We doing the separating. Okay, we do the separating in order to learn that which is the entity of time. But time is not separated. It's just time. Okay, when you introduce humans into it, now you got peaks and valleys, and we stop and we go, and you know what I mean? So like the humans to operate inside, but time is just time. Same as love, but we'll leave that one alone. See, there's a way you're supposed to operate with your time, which is why the Bible talks about. I was just talking to a friend of mine yesterday. This one's cool, so we're gonna drop this one here real quick. Everybody has heard the term redeem the time. So in Ephesians, clearly talks about redeeming time. Okay. Ecclesiastes talks about redeeming time. So we'll just drop this tidbit here because I already said something a little bit before on this. So redeeming the time because the days are evil. There you go. How in the world can I redeem time? How can I redeem time? So what? So what do you mean to tell me, KJ? Like this is Doctor Strange with the Eye of Agamotto, and you kind of turn in the clock and tick 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 tick, and you can just go on. Yep, that's exactly what I'm saying. Here's how I broke it down. Here's how I broke it down talking to my buddy yesterday. For every event that's ever happened in your life, sow seeds that are to the opposite of that wrong that happened in your life, and that is how you redeem it. Do you erase what happened? No, you don't erase what happened. But guess what? For every person that ever did you wrong in your life, when you make the dogmatic determination in your mind that I choose to be good to people because I was done wrongly, you redeem that moment of hurt and pain that happened to you. Look at the word redeem, folks. God literally gave people the ability to run back time. We sit there and sing that song from Cheryl all the time. If I could turn back time. All the time. We sitting there singing that. You can turn back time. We got the shot to be good each other. You worried about slavery, so? You worried about harm and damage that was done to a whole group of people you live around now. They babies. They're grandkids you live around now. We've inherited all this stuff now. You want to redeem that. Need I say less? Mental abuse, physical abuses that people have experienced. Be good to folks. Start learning about this stuff. That's how you literally, God gave people the ability to redeem it back, buy it back. If the control of it if God is the one sits on the throne of time, and we are made in the likeness thereof, and we have, man, people just ain't seeing it yet, but when they do, boy, oh boy, it's gonna look good, folks. It is gonna look good. You can buy back. That's the story of Samson. When you really look at it, you do wrong, guess what? I can fix it, even if it's at my cost. See, and this is the part where people lose it. But you got to get like what they talk about Jesus before he died, right? You got to set your face like flint. What do you truly believe? Does it mean something to be good to someone? Does it really, really mean something to be good to someone when you were done horribly to? To shine light where there's darkness? It does. It does. It's counted as righteousness. That's what the Bible talks about. That's what the Bible talks about. Oh, man. So yeah, that article goes on a whole bunch of back and forth about democracy, which again, for many cases and purposes, guys, it is a farce. There is some truth to it, but again, we're talking holy notions twisted. Okay, yeah, government's supposed to be for people, but it has never been. That's the point. Yeah, as far as republic goes, yeah, this thing is power to the people and from the people, yeah. But again, they twisted that a long time ago and stripped the power from the actual people and only got it for a few folks. We're talking about balance now. I'm sorry. I understand some of the mental stuff. This blows people's minds away. But this is what it is. You got one here that deals with, did you know back in good old, see, we're on this again. If judgment starts in the house of God, so we call it out. See, call it out. Okay. Did you know that the U.S. and and Israel, we're gonna leave that on the table, okay, voted against having food as a human right for folks back in 2021's UN meeting? Did you all know that? Food is not a human right to them, folks. The governments of the world have an issue. They have an issue. So in talking about this, I'm going to read this article real quick. This is coming from The Guardian. Okay, we've all seen The Guardian here. It's just one of these, I want to say started overseas, and it's also popular. I could be wrong on that. You know, I'll definitely look that up. I could be wrong on that. But it is a recognized online article provider, I guess, if you want to say that way. This is just talking about the U.S. again. They don't, you know, we don't bring up Israel, right? Because we don't talk about Bruno. It's time to start talking about Bruno, folks. There's no healing in the family. You got your cousins and uncles and all this kind of gross garbage going on in your family. It don't help not talking. Now, again, you're told to speak in love. See, we're told to tell the truth in love. But this idea where you never tell the truth, oh, no. No. The U.S. must acknowledge the right to food in order to transform its broken food system. So let's just, we're not even going to put it in the post-pandemic era, because that's also, this idea has been messed up from the jump. Again, if you can control who's got weapons, we're talking about black codes now. See, again, if you can do something to one group of people, what would stop you from doing it? Nothing would. Nothing would. So, broken food system. This is according to a United Nations meaning United Nations Health Hunger expert. I never like when people use acronyms and abbreviations, never explaining to me what it is. I cannot stand that. I'm missing part of the necessary information. And we got to actually take the 14 seconds to slow down and say what these abbreviations mean. Folks don't know. Anyway, whether we're talking about, this is the quote here from this representative here, Michael, and if this information ever gets out to this gentleman, I apologize here. I want to say Fakhri, Fakhri. He's a special consultant here on the right to food. Whether we're talking about the right to food, food justice, or food sovereignty, them last two, I mean, again, all big words, different ways of saying food, your right to eating food. Okay, there has been growing momentum over the last 10 years to understand. I'm telling you about what's going on behind the scenes that then comes out on the back end, folks. To understand that food is not just something we just leave to be determined by what is available or by corporations or the status quo. So we're just going to read it, and we're just going to read the quote. We're going to leave it as is, and we're going to go on to the next deal here. People are mobilizing around food to say food is, again, they use this word political, governmental. So it's governmentally. See, when I said a long time ago to your own, folks, I don't mean to be. We're just telling the truth. Your own on a very serious level. And when you're talking about balance here, it's where you are not owned. Okay, we operate in a relationship here, but we are not owned. It's different. Cultural and social. We should be able to decide for ourselves what counts as good food. Absolutely correct. Absolutely correct. Now here's the big banger, and we're gonna go on from here. I wonder if the right to now here's just his wonder if is about the right to food. I wonder if the right to eating. Let me say right to food. Let's just be honest. The right to eat, right? Again, responsibility with the abilities you've been given, and like me too, right? Okay, we're talking big folks here, where the food thing, it's time to get this thing in order. Time to get it in order. Check this out, folks. This just a little thing here, just to drop it on you, just to drop it on your mind, put it in the back burner, whatever it is. Do you know it takes like 36 hours to fully digest a meal? For the body to get all its nutrients, this, that, and the other. And do you notice they tell you to eat 3 times a day? They eat full meal 3 times a day. How how in the world are you going to be able to lose weight and do and let the metabolism work and all that kind of thing? And Lord, and we're not even talking about the food that we eat. We're just talking about the quantity of times of eating. You can't, man. You can't. The body can't keep up with that kind of thing, which makes you question, why in the world were they telling us that? And of course, as time has gone, see, I know the defenses. See, I know the defenses because we keep saying them so much. Yeah, well, they, KJ, they've adjusted this, then. Yeah, I know they've adjusted it. Just like they amended the Constitution a million times. Why do you think they do that? Because people who see through it start calling them out. Then they caught they caught the vibe. They're like, oops, and then they went and they changed it. That's why, folks. Now they're gonna push a thing on you, and unless you push back, this is what you get. This is what you get. Then it gets to a point where the pushback, they don't want to budge, and that's where you get war from, unfortunately. Talking about defense now. And again, it don't have to be violent, because that's not what this is about. This is a call to peace, actually. I wonder if the right to food doesn't have an older tradition in the U.S. because of the way U.S. culture understands rights and the way the Constitution plays a particular role. When I told you guys a lot of this stuff you have learned is really way off, it's way off. It's way off. We're putting our trust in the wrong thing, folks. And again, when you get into belief, it gets even worse. Your trust is not supposed to be in these people. It's supposed to be in the one that created people. But I digress. Unfortunately, in the U.S., there's this reluctance to engage with the sort of basic necessities of everyday life as the starting point. And Lord, if that statement this man made ain't the truth. This is what we're doing the happy dance around, folks. A little bit of the hokey pokey. You put the one foot in, you got the one, and you're shaking around, and you're always moving and stuff. Because people, when the heat is too hot in the kitchen, we got to get out. We can't be talking about other people when the game is just for me. The game is not for just one or one group. It's for everyone. And when we start messing in greed, the thing goes sideways. So now we get into this thing defense here. So I got into this whole huge, unnecessarily huge conversation. And let me just say something here, folks. And to social media, here's another thing, like to the different peoples that hold over this thing. When you got these negative conversations going on, hit the delete button real quick. I'm not talking about where it's okay, we got two different views, somebody saying something, okay, I'm responding. I'm talking about where it starts to get toxic. We got name calling going on. When all that kind of stuff starts happening, learn to start hitting the delete button real quick. That don't mean you weak. That don't mean nothing. You don't put your energy. We just finished reading this verse, right? We just finished talking about this verse here in the Bible, where your profit, what you say, is supposed to be bringing back some profit to you. And when you're talking emotional profit, when this thing, not because someone is going to say something negative, and then because it's negative, it affects you negatively, so you don't profit. We're not talking about the balance between the two here. We're talking about solely from the standpoint of, hey, this thing is going nowhere, and it's becoming toxic, and we're making fun of each other and all that. There's no need for all that. There's no need for all. There is no need for all that. Okay. Kind of like this violence in the Middle East. Ain't no need for all that. Somebody got land, share it. Oh, you're not sharing it? Well, then here's your parting prize to rob a phrase from game shows. Here, tell them what they won, Bob. Oh, it's unlimited death and sorrow. Stop the nonsense, guys. There's no need. So I'll back myself out of something real quick because this is, again, stop giving your energy to the wrong stuff. You leave some truth on the table for folks, whether they believe it or not. It's up to them. So you got a kid here back in April. Many have seen the video at this point where this kid gets sucker punched in Illinois. Lord knows Wild stuff goes on in Illinois, especially unfortunately in Chicago and stuff. But that's what happened with the ghetto. No different than in the country. This is why I said a while ago, in the country and in the cities, you're all part of a ghetto. I understand when they tell you, make you look at differences here to divide you, but nope. One might be on the East Coast, one might be on the West Coast, one might be in the middle. But y'all all part of the same ghetto. And a lot of the garbage stuff that happens because the way you were stuck and where you were put to. We can come higher though. We can come higher. But there is a starting point there that causes a lot of this stuff. So a kid sucker punches a kid. And you watch the video, it's after a wrestling match, so on and so forth. Okay? Here's the thing, especially when we're talking about sports, and especially when we talked before about how sports is a distraction. And I'm not gonna go too long, so I know we're already an hour here. Some of this stuff we're gonna end it here. You got the right to defend yourself, folks. Somebody going up to you, they're doing things that are wrong to you, all that kind of thing. This is why we talk about workers' rights. This is why we talk about people's rights, the right to food. There are certain things that you've been given by the Creator here. I understand people is about the thing, and they don't need you profiting, but Lord, man. We have done real damage by not following after the design of the great designer here. We really have. We really have. You got the right to defend yourself. You do. You really do. If parents will start teaching their kids, again, we understand the difference between passivity or passivism and non-passivism. Okay, we're not talking about being a warlike nation. Unfortunately, you got certain cultures out there who do subscribe as violence as a way of life. Okay, there's balance in between the two. You can go around and be respectful, and I try to really go after that at all points because I think it's necessary. A lot of these things here to help. You need the folks in the middle. Okay, you do. You really do. You really do, because it's not good to always be fighting all the time. That's a tiring life, and always taking it all the time, and always being passive, non-aggressive. Yikes! It's tough on both sides. But this idea here, where I can walk peacefully with you, and we ain't, I ain't making no drama. We ain't trying to go crazy. There ain't no start nothing, staring people down. Like you can see, even people can't even look each other in the eye no more, man. So much garbage has been pumped in people's heads that they have not checked. You talk about fact checking. There ain't nobody fact checking a thing. They're just listening, sucking it down, going to the same old sources where they keep seeing stuff. No, go to the living waters, man, and go away from this stuff and bring it up another level. Go to something different you ain't seen before. God has given this whole thing, man. God has given this whole thing. So. Kid is punched, so on and so forth. Teach your kids to defend themselves. Teach your kids to defend themselves. I don't know how else to say it. And it's okay. It's okay, right? It's okay. Hey, guess what? Somebody gonna come in. Again, we're talking about the strong man now, right? We're talking about this is the Bible. God is not dumb, folks. Like I said, God is not mid. I said that a couple episodes ago. This is not like. This is real. You got good and you got evil. Somebody gonna come messing with you. You gotta be ready to defend yourself. And if you're not ready, get yourself ready to defend yourself. I mean, it's a real thing. They sit here and they mess with laws and everything. You see this thing with food and stuff, folks. They mess with laws. They do it all day long. You got to be ready. You got to be ready. I'm talking defending life. That which is death coming to take life. Okay? And while that's a natural process, it can be blown out of proportion. And you got people with nothing but death in their mind. That's a problem. See, because they have not let go of the dead. They still got that death in their mind in varying degrees. You know what I'm saying? Which we understand, and the heart goes out to people when you see the thing take them. It's one thing when someone dies, right? It leaves that hole. It really does. But then it's another thing when you start to see that hole completely consume that person, man. And people are like that walking around. They talk about dead man walking. You got dead people walking, man. Some of them might have the good dress on. Some of them might have a good suit on. They might smell good and they might look good in the gym, man. But on the inside, the way the Bible says it, is the Jews a valley of dead men's bones. Yeah. That thing is for real. That thing is for real. And then, see, again, we're talking about unequally yoked, right? You heard me talk about that verse. You get yoked up with people like that, man. That's unequally yoked. So, I go to say a thought such as this. The child gets hit. Now, at the time that I saw the video, of course, we like to do complete views here, okay? The child gets hit. Here's the thing. Here's the thought that was portrayed. The child gets hit, and that was a serious sucker punch. Child should be grass. That child's butt should be grass, whatever the punishment is. You ain't got no defense here, right? I'm talking defense. You ain't got no defense and we understand in the court of law, they twist that thing up, but then again, laws are already twisted. So that's it. This is why when everybody talks about the legal system, guys, the laws are made up. The laws are made up. So at one point when something goes down for one, that you can look online a million different places. Hey, the law works well for this one. As soon as you get over by them people, the law don't work well. Guess what? All you have to do is go back in time to go reading that. Do you realize they made up jaywalking as a rule to catch the slaves that they just freed? I'm sorry, y'all. It's bad what people, they made it so that the slave patrol, aka what we call today police, could go catch them and bring them back to people. This is what they were doing. This is what they were doing. They made up rules. They make up rules. I mean, look, think about it. At one point, the rule wasn't there. The law wasn't there. And then all of a sudden it was there, right? They're making them up. It takes them forever to amend them, too. They got all these excuses why they can't. I wonder why it take that long. Folks don't want to give up control and power. Again, the idea is to take from you. You got to be willing. You got to be ready to defend yourself against that. As the phrase goes, come hell or high water. So, the other side of the thought was this, and this happens a lot, and this is what drew the ire of a lot of people. But hey, this is just the truth. Somebody is messing with the kid in the back. We're talking about the kid who did the punching now. Which again, this was not the case in this video, but it's just a thought. And this part flips out people. That kid's being messed in the back, going through it. Okay, man, everybody in life goes through this, and this is the part where everybody's like, "Oh, you can't retaliate." And most of the time when people say these are the people who want to be able to just do whatever they want to folks and not see any repercussions. That's not how life works. It's not how life works. We understand that's how they've set up life to work. Again, where slave owners could rape women, and because of the slave codes involved and then turned into the black codes that then poured over into the civil rights movement, that your quote unquote Jim Crow era, where the word itself, Jim Crow, is making fun of black people. Bet you folks don't know some of that. Jim Crow is a phrase used to make fun of black people. They made laws. So look at you want to talk about double entendre. You want to talk about equivocal language. They made laws making fun of and disproportionately hurting black people, while putting in the title a term that makes fun of black people. You tell me how sick that is. This is the basis in which again, if they mess with one group of people, they do it to them all. Separate and come out from among them. Be ye separate, saith the Lord. This is what the Bible is telling you, folks. Don't get mad at me because people don't want to be around folks. God is telling people you need to come away from that garbage. See, we are thinking when that verse is out there, oh, come away from the evil people. Again, abstain from the very appearance of evil. This is biblical now. So the idea was, hey, somebody messing with you in the back, you punch him back. Okay? Saw it on camera. Now, what we didn't see on the camera, this is the one thing with the camera thing, folks. Since photography now is becoming a worldwide thing, I guess what they'll pay you for it now is less because everyone's a photographer now. We're photographers in the bedroom. We're photographers in the forest. We're photographers on the corner, on the block corner, in the parking lot, videotaping. And see, don't get me wrong. Some of it's real necessary because a lot of this garbage has happened without it being on film. But again, like I always say, something that is holy can get twisted now and then it looks all funky. So we got to be responsible with the abilities that we have because that's what can happen when we're not. So just this idea of some things just to be cautious, folks, just to be cautious. Because it can go south real quick. And then the reverberating effects, don't stop at you. It goes all the way down to your children's of children's of children. So that's what we're going to stop for today, folks, because we have gone on for a minute. My apologies, but again, this is something that was necessary. I hope this carries y'all through some very maybe some tough times in your life. And also some very happy times in your life. It's important to defend yourself. The rest of that I went on there to talk about was the idea of, hey, if somebody's messing with you in the back, yeah, you handle it, folks. I understand everybody's trying to stop this thing, but it's a natural progression. Again, you want to put certain parameters there where it does not become too crazy. Okay, but again. The learning of defense is not wrong. What is wrong is the manipulation of violence. Let me be very clear. The manipulation of violence. That's why being warlike is no good. See, the other idea of you always being passive. Again, while we have the choices to do these things, and it is our choice. Okay, honored and recognized in the high heavens. Understand that there is a balance in between the two as well. So, that is what I got for today, folks. And as always, look to find the beauty in a different view.